Hey, working mom, welcome to Organizing for Beautiful Living, the podcast that provides sustainable organizing, decluttering, and lifestyle tips for working moms and entrepreneurs. I'm Zizi Man, professional organizer with Firefly Bridge Organizing, and I'm here to share simple ideas that don't take a lot of time so that you can love the way your home looks and functions, and so you can feel more confident about your time, and so you're proud to invite anyone over anytime without stressing out about clutter. Ready to get beautifully organized? Let's make it happen. Well, so as you can see and you can hear, the podcast is going through a bit of a rebrand, a name change. So let me briefly explain why this change and what it means. Organizing for Beautiful Living is so much more aligned to my mission as a professional organizer and my work at Firefly Bridge Organizing. My approach to organizing is that we organize for a purpose, and that purpose is for social living. You know that social interactions are crucial to your well-being, right? The pandemic pretty much reinforced that to the entire world. Well, there's also research on the type of social interactions we experience daily and the sense of satisfaction and happiness that we feel with these interactions that we have with others. Types of social interactions, meaning, yes, what we do with our family and friends, which are the closest, most intimate contacts that we have, but also the interactions we have with our colleagues, with our neighbors, classmates, members of our communities, acquaintances, and even strangers. There was a study done in 2021 by Hannah Collins and other researchers while she was at Harvard. And the study was specifically about this, not just the amount of time that people spent in social interactions and their self-reported feelings of well-being and happiness, but also who they interacted with each day and how different these types of social contacts were. So basically, who did they interact with today and for how long, and how did that make them feel? Was it maybe talking on the phone with your mom, or maybe chatting with the person in front of you, complete stranger, in the grocery line? And they looked at data both here in the US and also worldwide, across the globe. And what they found was that people with more diverse social networks, diverse meaning not racial, ethnic, or gender diversity, but how closely they knew each of the people they interacted with. So a diversity in the distance they had from those people. So those with more diverse social networks were happier and more satisfied with life than those with less diverse networks. And this is regardless of how much time they'd spent socializing overall with each different type of network, and also regardless of the person's age, gender, employment status, and other factors that could influence happiness. Now, what does this have to do with being organized? Well, my colleagues, who are fellow professional organizers and members of NAPO. NAPO is the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals and provides education to organizers. Well, my colleagues and I have observed over and over again how being disorganized and cluttered causes moms to pull back a bit from their social interactions. Of course, it ranges, and of course, it varies from person to person. But in the throes of raising kids and working and focusing on their relationship with their partner, having clutter and disorganization around them can really cause a distancing from socializing naturally. Now, how many women can you think of right now who, when they opened their front door to you or when you got into their car, they immediately apologized for the state of that space, right? Just think about it. They'd say things like, "Please don't mind my house. I haven't gotten around to tidying up quite yet," or "Sorry for the messy car. Just toss all that stuff into the trunk." After a few times of this, and even though you maybe don't think of it at all, they feel self-conscious about it and it affects their confidence. Maybe you have had a few moments like this yourself. How did it affect you in the moment? So for me as an organizer, the goal of helping someone get organized is not simply to make their home look stylish and completely, in place and orderly and organized with every space like a museum and not a paper or a toy or a coffee mug out of place. That might be a byproduct of getting organized. But no, we need to live in our homes. The kids need to play. We need to cook. It's going to get messy sometimes. But the difference is that we also need to feel confident, to be ready and willing to open our front doors to not only the people closest to us, but also those who aren't that close, right? This is what the study showed, that those who had diverse social interactions with a number of different types of contacts, those closest to them and those who were perhaps complete strangers, not that you would invite a complete stranger into your home, but that you would feel confident enough to interact with them. Well, those people who had all those interactions were happier. And the way that you're going to be able to do that, to socialize anytime you want, is to be organized. I'm saying that to be organized doesn't mean your house will never be messy. But what it means is that you know that after the mess, the cleanup is pretty straightforward and it won't take long. So, the new book club that you're a part of, well, when it's your turn to host, you're not going to be scrambling or making an excuse to skip it or to have it at a restaurant instead, because you'll be confident that your house will be ready. In fact, your house will always be just a few minutes away from being guest ready. You'll be happy to have colleagues over, your neighbors over, anyone at all. So how do you organize simply so you can have this beautiful social way of living? Well, you'll use my CLEAR5 framework. The CLEAR5 framework, which I cover in episode 1 of the podcast, and I'll put the link directly to that episode in the show notes for you. The CLEAR5 framework makes organizing simple because it begins with your idea of what being organized looks like for you and your family. If you've always wanted one of those pantries with matching containers and labels, well, fantastic, we'll do that. But we'll make sure that we understand basically why you want that and how you envision it working for you in the long run. Are you willing to take the time to decant all of your spices, your grains, cereals, snacks, and pastas into containers every week after going grocery shopping? Or would you prefer an alternative to the matching individual containers that still looks great, but that's going to be less maintenance for you? CLEAR5 makes the decluttering process easier. We are all attached to our stuff. It's just a matter of degree, right? So over the years, I've become less attached to my stuff, but I think probably my husband and my kids have more sentimental attachments to certain things. Decluttering is a skill that gets better with practice, like yoga or math. The first time you start decluttering, it's going to feel really hard. But when you declutter with my guidance, I help you through the questions that you can ask yourself to make the process easier. And after continuing to declutter, continuing to ask yourself those questions, you'll start to see how it becomes easier and easier as your relationship to your stuff starts to change bit by bit. CLEAR5 includes some of my favorite organizing formulas for where to assign homes to things. In the kitchen, for example, we've come up with a placement formula that works in every kitchen. That makes your kitchen efficient and functional. And I have formulas for other categories too, which takes away the uncertainty and the decision fatigue of, where should I store this thing? CLEAR5 also shows you how to maintain, meaning how to stay organized easily. There are a few very simple strategies I show my clients for how to stay organized pretty easily once they've decluttered and they've organized a space. And some of these are very customized to their family situation. And of course, there's always the option to have us come back in and do a maintenance session in your home quarterly or at some other interval. So once you've decluttered and organized, and you have the strategies for staying organized, living your life socially has fewer barriers to it, right? Like you'll be able to be more spontaneous and invite family friends over for a regular weekday dinner just because you cooked a big lasagna or you wanted to order pizza or Chinese takeout, and you're no longer apologizing for the look of your home or thinking about canceling because you're not confident in the state of your home. That's what organizing for beautiful living is all about. And here we are nearing the end of 2024. And I know a lot of people say, Well, at the start of the new year, I'm making these changes. I'm going to focus on my health. I'm going to focus on my hobbies, and I'm going to focus on my family. Well, organizing for beautiful living, I think, is a central part of all of that. When there's less clutter around you, there's more calm within you. So you can focus more easily on whatever other goals you might have. So if you want to wait until 2025 to get organized for beautiful living, that's fantastic. That's great. It's also great to start on Monday or on Friday after work, or even today. So if you want to know more about my organizing process, the CLEAR5 Framework, listen to episode 1 of the podcast or reach out to me personally, okay? Enjoy your week, and I'll see you on the next episode.